Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into what we call the Kavala pool dilemma. It's essentially the 15,000 euro question that every single villa owner in the region agonizes over when they look at their property. We're going to pull back the curtain on the real numbers, look at actual guest behavior, and uncover the hidden costs behind one of the absolute biggest investments you can make in your rental business.
Is a pool actually worth the money? Owners have debated this over coffee for years. Does a pool just look pretty on your listing, or does it completely rewrite your business model? Well, we are finally moving past the guesswork and the vague advice to look at hard, undeniable data from local property managers. The hospitality myth: pools increase revenue by up to 30%. You hear this general rule of thumb literally everywhere in the short-term rental world. But when we actually crunch the data for coastal villas in Kavala, that 30% rule completely underestimates the true financial impact.
Let's compare two identical three-bedroom villas in Kavala. Because to get the real story, we have to look at apples to apples. Picture two identical villas, same high-end finishes, same gorgeous location. The only difference, one has a shimmering pool in the backyard, and the other just has a lawn. We want to completely isolate how that one single feature changes the game. A case study of no pool versus with a pool. The numbers from just one season are mind-blowing. The standard villa booked 100 nights at 240 euros a night. That is a totally respectable 24,000 euros. But the pool villa? It didn't just snag 10 extra bookings. It commanded a massive 37.5% premium on its nightly rate, pushing it all the way up to 330 euros a night. 12,300 euros. That is a 51% revenue increase. We are talking about an extra 12,300 euros in your pocket every single year, bringing the total annual revenue from 24,000 up to 36,300 euros. Even if you are super conservative with the math, you easily blow past that standard 30% myth we talked about. The why? Two mechanisms triggered at exactly the same time. So how exactly is this happening? It's not just a fluke or a really lucky summer. This data reveals some very specific psychological triggers that fire off the second a guest spots a pool on your profile. Why pools drive bookings, search filters, category shift, and longer stays. It really boils down to these three massive shifts in how guests actually behave when they interact with platforms like Airbnb or Booking.com. Reason one, pools add visibility, not just value. This starts before they even see your beautiful photos. Think about a stressed-out family planning a July trip to Greece. They check that pool filter instantly. If you don't have one, you are completely invisible to a huge slice of the market, no matter how great your interior design is. The pool guarantees you're actually in the game. Reason two, the private resort effect. A pool entirely changes how guests categorize your property in their heads. You actually stop competing with standard houses on price because guests mentally upgrade you to a private resort. They'll happily pay that 330 euro premium because they feel they're unlocking a luxury experience. Reason three, longer stays mean better guest quality and lower overhead. Pools naturally attract families and larger groups who want to settle in for a week rather than just a quick 2-night weekend trip. For you as an owner, that is a dream scenario. It instantly cuts down your cleaning bills, reduces wear and tear, and means way fewer logistical headaches. What does a pool actually cost to build? Okay, before we get too carried away with all this extra cash, let's do a quick reality check on construction costs in the Kavala region. After all, revenue only really matters when you weigh it against the upfront investment, right? 12,000 to 15,000 euros, based on current local rates, depending on the size, the finishes, and maybe throwing in a heat pump to extend your rental season. You're looking at dropping about 12 to 15 grand up front for a proper pool setup in this market. The ROI timeline, paying for itself in roughly one season. But let's put those numbers together. A 15,000 euro build cost versus 12,300 euros in brand new annual revenue, the math is kind of undeniable. The pool basically pays for itself in just one single summer. After that, it's pretty much pure upside, which is an incredibly fast return on investment. But we have to talk about the hidden costs: maintenance and chemicals, liability insurance, safety compliance, and off-season upkeep. You can't just pour the concrete and walk away. You have to budget for weekly cleaning, higher insurance premiums, and non-negotiable safety features like fencing and depth markers to protect yourself and your guests. Plus, winterizing the pool takes time and money too. When a pool is not the right move.
Despite these massive numbers, there are times you should absolutely hit the brakes. If you are literally steps from the beach where guests just want sea access, that benefit shrinks. Or if your villa desperately needs basic updates, like a modernized kitchen or functioning AC, do not build a pool yet. A pool amplifies a well-managed villa. It doesn't fix a broken one. This perfectly summarizes the golden rule of real estate investment. A luxury amenity is never going to magically hide a terrible review from a guest who couldn't sleep because the beds were awful. Fix the basics first, always. Building the pool is only half the equation. Here's the final piece of the puzzle. Digging a hole and filling it with water doesn't magically deposit 12,000 euros into your checking account. You have to actively execute on the marketing side to hit those premium numbers. The management multiplier: hero photography, dynamic pricing, and listing optimization. A professional manager has to make that pool the absolute star of your photos, not an afterthought. They need to aggressively tweak pricing based on demand instead of using lazy flat rates, and they must optimize your listing so the algorithm actually knows what you're offering. A pool gives you the ceiling. Management determines how close you get to it. I love this quote because it's so true. The concrete sets your potential ceiling at 36,000 euros, but your day-to-day management, like the team at Planbnb who oversee over 50 properties in this area, they're the ones who actually turn that potential into heads and beds at 330 euros a night. Are you getting the pricing and occupancy your villa deserves? So whether you're breaking ground tomorrow or you already own a pool villa in Kavala, I want you to leave this explainer asking yourself, are you really maximizing this investment based on the real data? Are you capturing that 51% revenue bump, or is your absolute best asset just sitting invisible in the search results?